Let's hear from Frank Lampard. We'll talk to Adrian Clarke in just a second, but Clarke was chatting to Frank Lampard ahead of his first game as Coventry manager at home to Cardiff.
Big boots to fill. Did the prospect of sort of following Mark Robins make you think twice about applying, and does it add any more pressure?
Well, I don't know. What I have got is a lot of respect for him and the job he did. I actually used to cross paths with Mark a bit when I was actually managing at Derby, and was always very polite, always very respectful. So a really good football man who did a great job here. So I'm not sitting here to try and play myself off against him, tell I'm going to do these great things. I think he's probably a good sign of a good manager who's a manager that's left good roots for you to try and continue in your own way. So I'm very thankful for the work he's done here. I've got complete respect. I need to earn my respect through the work that I do. Simple as that. I'm quite humble about that. I'm not coming here as some kind of unveiling. This is, shouting from the rooftops what I want to do. I want to get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you haven't picked your first starting 11 yet, but some of the fan base have been sceptical about the appointment. What would you say to those that are sort of saying that they're not sure how good you are as a manager? What would you say?
No, listen, they're entitled to their opinions. I've got no worries about that. I think in the modern day, if you become a manager, you can't be too prickly. You can't probably listen to a lot of that. So thanks for telling me. But but it's a serious fact that is that in this job you are held up to high account even before you start the job. That's the reality of it. I've got no problem with that. I've been used to it as a player for many years and as a manager and working in the job. I have a confidence in myself, and I want to show how well I can do the job. I've also had a lot of support and found out that there's a lot of Coventry fans where I didn't even know in the last 2 or 3 weeks down in London, walking down the King's Road in certain areas. So it was a big, another realisation of the history of this club and the strength of its fan base. So they can't all love me. They probably never all will love me, but I'll do my best to bring them the team they want, and then maybe they'll sort of like me.
What a great interview.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Clarke joins us. Hey, Clarke, how are you?
Hello, morning or afternoon.
And without blowing smoke up your backside, that is a good question to ask. Not an easy question when
Really
you're face to
good,
face
Clarke.
with someone, is it?
No, I felt bad asking it. I've got to be honest, but I think a lot of the narrative, I live locally, which I think talkSPORT sent me over to do the chat. You can see the full interview, by the way, on talkSPORT's YouTube channel. It sort of lasts, I don't know, about 6 minutes or so. But yeah, I felt I had to ask it because a lot of Coventry supporters, and there are plenty where I live, didn't really want Frank Lampard, and they're not sure whether he's a good manager or not. And but he's very likable. I think he's he speaks very nicely, and I hope that he succeeds. I really do, because he's clearly got a passion for management, and he's had ups and downs, hasn't he? But yeah, it was fascinating to get his insight on how he feels approaching the gig. He's very hungry, I think, to succeed.
Yeah, you get that sense. I mean, it's true, isn't it? And I suppose it's interesting with people like Rooney and Lampard, who clearly just do not need the money. But I mean, you could say that for any manager who's had one payoff, right? They don't need the money.
No.
That is and the relentlessness of football management, right? It's not. He is bright, and he just walk into Sky every week, get 6 figures, have a nice time, get one of those podcasts, and then be laughing on Instagram reels all the time, and he'd be great, and he'd be really popular, etc. And so it isn't, for him, it is, you sort of go, he is desperate to be successful, right? And the one thing that Coventry fans who are sceptical should know is that he is so desperate for this to work, because I bet he is absolutely desperate to never have to be asked that question that you just asked him.
Yeah, exactly. And I sat in on the main press conference as well, and a lot of the questions were along that line. You don't need this. Why are you bothering? And he was like, "How do you know I don't need it?" He said, "I get the why you're asking it. Obviously, fully financially." But he said, "I'm in my 40s. I want to work, and the work that I like best is improving players, winning matches, and sort of trying to develop a team." And I give him full credit for taking the gig, and look, he's got a good squad as well. I tell you, Coventry City are languishing at the minute, bottom half, but they can absolutely still challenge for the playoffs this season. So yeah, I hope it goes all right for him.
What do you know? Never even played the game, Clarkey. It is a great job to take, I think. Now that they're back at their own stadium, they do seem to have a bit of a budget for the Championship. We spoke on H&J to a couple of fans a couple of weeks ago, and they were expecting to be top four at least, top six at least in the Championship. So this has come as a real shock for them. I suppose the first thing he has to do, consolidate, make sure they stay up, and then try and push on. I don't know if he can do all that in one season.
Yeah, he wouldn't get drawn in the main presser on ambitions for this season, but I think they can still push for the playoffs. I don't think they need to worry about staying up. They have a really good squad. They've got good strikers, lots of them, excellent midfielders, wingers. It's in defence where they've been a little bit leaky. They keep rotating their goalkeepers as well. They can't seem to decide which one to pick. But no, there's a lot of potential there. And Mark Robins had them performing at the top end of the division year after year. And that's where I expect them to be come the end of this season. But yeah, look, he's left his young family, back down south at the moment. He said he will move them up in the new year. But at the moment, he said, there's so much work to be done. I've just got to throw myself into it and see where it takes us. So, yeah, look, I'm sure that Coventry fans will get behind Frank. He's got a good opener, I've got to say. Maybe these advanced talks that took about 2 weeks might have had something to do with the fixture, because that's some really, really challenging games. Sheffield United was one. Cardiff at home feels like a good opener. And I think they'll win today. Yeah.
You mentioned the goalkeepers. I'm starting to think that Steve Grizovich's time is coming to an end. Can I ask you about massive game last night? Sheffield United beating Sunderland at the top of the table was just a huge result, isn't it?
Saved penalty as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good penalty save, wasn't it? I tell you what, if this guy had been there last year, Sheffield United wouldn't have been, as bad as they were, because they really struggled in the goalkeeper department last season with the two that they had. Michael Cooper, they got him from Plymouth. He's top notch, and he's got so many clean sheets this season. I knew this would be a tight game, and obviously it had a bit of drama with 2 red cards and a penalty being saved. But yeah, Sheffield United are solid, really, really solid, and they've got some excellent players as well. Raksaki is a terrific player on loan from Palace at the moment. Keep your eye on him. But yeah, I do fancy Sheffield United and Leeds are the 2 real standouts. Sunderland have done well to challenge, and they might stick around at the top end of the table. But yeah, Sheffield United, Leeds, and probably Burnley are the pick at the minute.
And what's next for you? You touchline at Anfield to go, Pep, that was garbage, you off. Now you're the Paxman of talkSPORT.
Hard guy.
Asking the difficult questions. Yeah, no, I'm down at Arsenal later on today, so that'll be good. Co-coms on that. And tomorrow, if you fancy a bit of FA Cup action, early doors, I'm on talkSPORT 2 with Flo Pollock. We're doing commentary of Kettering versus Doncaster Rovers. So they've sent us there, I reckon.
What time is that? Because
they think it's going to be an upset. It's a 12 noon kickoff.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.